If you're looking for LifeLock alternatives to protect you and your loved ones from identity theft, then you're in luck. Of the 7 identity theft protection solutions I've used, I would recommend 5 of them before I would recommend Norton's LifeLock. And once this video is live, I can't come back and change it, so check out the video description for my latest recommendations, and also for links to any deals that I know of. But what's wrong with LifeLock? I'm guessing if you're watching this video, then you already have a hunch. We'll get to the bottom of it in this video, and I'll highlight where each of the 5 identity theft protection solutions I'd recommend instead outperform LifeLock. And I'll also rank my alternative recommendations from highest to lowest. Which brings me to my first gripe about LifeLock. Their support is just terrible. It's like they optimize for the lowest costs at the expense of their customers. All the other companies I've worked with have fantastic support teams. It's as if they know that good customer support is the first line of defense in excellent fraud resolution. Why is that important? Imagine the situations that would lead you to call support. Maybe it's something small, but sooner or later it's going to be something that spikes your blood pressure through the roof. If the person on the other end of the line is reading off scripts, you'll probably wish you could reach through the phone and smack them silly. I'm not saying you're a violent person, it's a joke. Kinda like LifeLock's customer support. Monitoring your personal information with these identity theft protection companies all starts with entering the personal information you want to monitor. Did you get that? Because I could say it again if you'd like. The types of personal information they allow you to monitor ranges from company to company, and LifeLock's actually not too bad in this regard. But what does bother me a little bit is that they only allow you to monitor 5 email addresses. Most of the other companies allow you to monitor more. The only one that doesn't is Complete ID, and they only allow you to monitor 4. But in spite of that, I still prefer Complete ID to LifeLock. Once you're up and running, Aura and Identity Guard will proactively submit opt-out requests with data brokers, which should help cut down on robocalls, junk mail, and spam emails. And they do this on an ongoing basis, so as they find your personal information with more data brokers, they'll submit more opt-out requests for you. LifeLock will scan the public web, and when they find your personal information, they'll let you know where they found it, what they found, and how you can opt out. But if you want them to opt out for you, then you have to fork over some extra cash. Beyond that, there are tons of different types of scans that these identity theft protection solutions perform. A lot of the companies, LifeLock included, tend to spread the different scans and other benefits across a tiered pricing structure, which tends to push you towards the top tier plan. This marketing tactic kind of gives me heartburn. I much prefer the straightforward and comprehensive packages that you get with Aura and Complete ID. But of course, the most interesting and in many ways the most important aspect of personal information monitoring is the dark web monitoring. And I'll show you how LifeLock compares to the alternatives when monitoring the dark web for my personal information later in this video. Before that, I want to talk a bit about financial monitoring and what you should really look for ideally among LifeLock alternatives. The biggest one is credit monitoring, and to get the most thorough and responsive protection, you want a plan that includes 3 bureau credit monitoring with Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. This makes sure you get alerts if there are any inquiries into your credit file, like if someone opens a credit card in your name or takes out a loan. But further, you should be getting monthly Vantage scores from all 3 bureaus and annual credit reports from all 3 bureaus right in your dashboard. And in the best case, you get that convenient credit lock that prevents unwanted inquiries into your credit file with the click of a button. Once again, Aura and Complete ID include this on all of their plans. With LifeLock, you can get most of the way there with their top tier Ultimate Plus plan, and you can even get updates to credit reports and scores daily from one bureau. But while you can get annual reports from all 3 bureaus on LifeLock's Ultimate Plus plan, you never get monthly scores from all 3 bureaus. The most you get is annual. And that's only if you get LifeLock's top tier plan. If you get even their mid-tier plan, you're stuck with 1 bureau credit monitoring with monthly reports and scores from only 1 bureau. Although you do get a credit lock and even a payday loan lock. But on LifeLock's standard plan, there are no reports and scores at all. Just to reiterate that, the big winners in the credit department are Aura and Complete ID. And then there's transaction monitoring. This allows you to link bank accounts and credit cards to keep an eye out for fraudulent charges all in one place. And you can set alert thresholds to get a notification of any charges over a limit you specify. You need LifeLock's mid-tier Advantage plan to unlock this, but it comes standard in all plans from Aura, as well as ID Shield and Identity Force. So as you can see, it's a little bit tit for tat as to who offers more monitoring services, although you might be starting to see a bit of a pattern here. But even more important is how well these monitoring services actually work. And really the most significant way to visualize which LifeLock alternatives offer better monitoring in my mind is to take a look at what they find on the dark web. I monitor the same personal information across all the identity theft protection solutions I use. Although in the case of LifeLock and Complete ID, which don't allow me to monitor all of my email addresses, I leave out the email addresses that don't turn up any dark web hits on the other platforms. Lucky for me, my dark web alerts only turn up leaked login credentials to various websites. Not ideal, but it could be worse. LifeLock finds a total of 8 dark web hits for my personal information, and they are all unique, meaning they're not hits of the same login credentials posted in different places on the dark web. How does that compare? Well, it could be worse. Identity IQ turns up absolutely nothing for my personal information on the dark web. But it also could be better. Identity Force turns up a total of 20 dark web hits, 10 of which are unique. And Aura and Identity Guard turn up a total of 18 dark web hits, 9 of which are unique. ID Shield turns up more than 17 dark web hits, but there's a bit of an asterisk here because ID Shield's interface doesn't allow you to view your clear alerts, so I can't get a total, and I can't say how many are unique. And I couldn't even tell you what the hits were. I'm just lucky I wrote down that total when I signed up. And last but not least, we have Complete ID, which turns up 14 total dark web alerts, 9 of which are unique. So LifeLock comes in 6th place of the 7 companies I use. Now, as I always caution, there's usually not perfect overlap in what these companies find on the dark web. So it's not like there's one company that definitively offers the best dark web monitoring. But clearly, there's quite a bit that LifeLock is missing. And they don't even find my leaked Gmail credentials that all 5 of these alternatives find. In my mind, that's enough to ditch LifeLock in and of itself. Unless you're so in love with Norton that you're willing to let your relationship with LifeLock go down the path of Pam and Tommy, you're probably right to be looking elsewhere. I'll rank these LifeLock alternatives in 1 minute, but I do want to shed a little bit more light on fraud resolution, where LifeLock does actually have a little more going for it. So I've already talked about how LifeLock support is terrible, but in the event that you're a victim of identity theft, their plans include US-based identity restoration specialists. However, there's no mention of white glove fraud resolution to do all the heavy lifting like you get with Aura and Identity Force, or with Identity Guard's top-tier Ultra plan. Now, in terms of financial backing, $1 million in identity theft protection is pretty standard as a minimum across all of these companies. With LifeLock's top-tier Ultimate Plus plan, you do get up to $3 million in coverage, although that's broken down into up to $1 million for lawyers and experts, up to $1 million in stolen funds reimbursement, and up to $1 million in personal expense reimbursement. That's pretty good, and if you're on their family plan, that's up to $3 million per adult and up to $1 million per child. Although there are some asterisks to indicate that the $1 million in coverage for lawyers and experts is collective, among other things. So it's not necessarily quite as good as it looks. If you upgrade all the way to their Ultimate Plus plan for a family with kids, that means you get $5,250,000 in coverage. Forgive me if my math is off there, I'm pretty sure it's right, but feel free to check it yourself. Aura's family plan is competitive here. They offer up to $1 million per adult, which is up to $5 million on their family plan as it covers 5 adults and unlimited children. LifeLock's family plans cover a maximum of 2 adults and 5 children. And while more insurance is good, with LifeLock you're still going to be stuck with poor customer support and nearly bottom-rung dark web monitoring. We've covered all the major things to consider when choosing a LifeLock alternative, so here are my recommendations. All of these are better than LifeLock in my experience. At the bottom I'd say is ID Shield. My biggest complaint with ID Shield is that their interface is terrible, so much so that it even impacts how well you can use their dark web monitoring. One better than ID Shield is Complete ID. They offer affordable and comprehensive plans with no tiered structure, but they are a bit light in what they allow you to monitor. You also need a Costco membership to use Complete ID. Even better than Complete ID would be Identity Guard and Identity Force. Both of these are great solutions, and with Identity Guard you're getting the same technology as you get with Aura, and I'd say they're probably a little bit more robust than Identity Force if you upgrade all the way on both. Of course, my biggest complaint with Identity Guard and Identity Force is that they use that tiered pricing structure. Once you upgrade all the way to the top to unlock all the benefits, Aura's a better deal. And if you haven't figured it out by now, I'd say the best LifeLock alternative is Aura. Their plans are comprehensive, priced to be approachable, and they've really raised the bar for what you can expect from an identity theft protection company. Remember to check out the video description for my latest recommendations and links to any deals that I have. If you want to learn more about any of these identity theft protection companies, I have tons of reviews and comparisons on this channel. Check out my Aura review if you haven't already, and beyond what's published, I have tons more in the queue, so stay tuned.